My name is Ojo. I'm a very beautiful young woman. Without being told, I'm from the Aniaye in Omwani town. Growing up, I always dreamed of finding true friendship in a lover. As they say, true love starts with friendship, a kiss on the forehead, and a date night. I had a bucket list of caring for a sick pet, catching butterflies with a lover in a destiny garden, watching the sunset together with a lover, and getting married to the love of my life and living happily ever after. Little did I know that my fairy tale could turn into a nightmare. I'm from a small village, living a simple life. But when I met Emeka, everything changed. He was charming and handsome, and I fell head over heels in love with him. At first, I wanted friendship that will grow into love, a friendship that will never end. I don't want to rush into marriage. I wanted to explore what true love is all about. Going on a night date and having some picnic with my lover and friends. I had a dream of becoming a fashion designer, going a big fashion school, expanding my small fashion business with plenty of workers and apprentices, having a fashion show where my models will showcase my trending designs. 2 months I met Emeka. He was so genuinely in love with me. He was perfect and so sweet. Each time he comes around my fashion store, I am usually carried away by his love and affections. Emeka is a sweet guy, very caring and loving. Most times, he becomes controlling and he gets angry easily. But soon enough, he gets over it and will be good again. I never saw those red flags in any way. My eyes were blinded by his sweetness and loving kindness. I was so much happier like never before. He is the man every woman could desire. He is good looking and rich. He owns a business in the neighborhood and he does well in his business. His house is well decorated and beautiful. The scent of his perfume melts my heart all the time. On a Sunday night was the day he asked me to marry him. He brought out an engagement ring and asked me to be his wife. At that moment, I felt it. I felt the moment I was waiting for all my life. It was like a dream come true. Who wouldn't want to marry Emeka? I said that sincerely in my heart. I felt blessed and overjoyed. I said yes, I will marry you. He was happy and kissed me at that moment. I felt accomplished. I felt on top of the world. Within my heart, I have arrived. Ifeoma is a baker. She owns a bakery business. She is known for her beautiful wedding cakes and sweets. She has no rival. I tell her every time I get to eat her cake. I will laugh over it. Ifeoma is my best friend. We attended the same school and we knew we could conquer the world together. We clicked in school days. We became best of friends. She loves baking. One day she said to me, I will be a big name. People will know me as the baddest baker. And I told her anything fashion is my calling. We laughed and life continues. The next, on a Monday morning, after my engagement night, I went to Ifeoma's bakery shop. Uju, how are you doing? She asked me. I replied, I am good, my friend. Before completing my response, her eyes gazed on my finger. She screamed, oh my goodness, my BFF is getting married. I know it's Emeka and no one else. I was flattered and said, yes, it's Emeka. He proposed last night. Ifeoma screamed again, oh my goodness, this is called for a celebration. She quickly got a bottle of champagne and toasted for a happy wedding. I love my best friend and I wish we could be getting married at the same day and starting a family at the same time. 2 weeks on, I think is the right time to start planning a wedding list. My darling husband-to-be, I think we should start planning a wedding list. Emeka was on the bed with his phone. He said to me, yes, of course, we should. I wrote some few lists and read out loud. to him. No, this is too expensive, Joe. We can't afford to pay for a wedding planner this amount of money. Don't you use your head? Do you think I pluck money on the trees? Are you even sure you are ready to become a wife? I don't want a wasteful wife. I will plan the wedding with my friends, or you can plan it with your best friend Ifoma. I was dumbfounded and lost words. How did we end up with all of these questions? Just because I suggested we pay a wedding planner a sum of 500? I started questioning myself. Was I wrong? Am I sure I could make a good wife? I started becoming nervous because my behaviors, I don't want to lose my Emeka and my wedding. I couldn't sleep well all night, thinking about being a wasteful wife. Emeka had dressed up for his daily business and kissed me goodbye. I pretended to be okay and I rushed to pick up my phone and called Ifoma. I narrated what had happened yesterday to her while writing the wedding list. Ojo, stop worrying. It is better you start planning how to build a home. Our mothers say a good wife is the pillar of our home. I was relieved that my best friend could advise me, and I thanked her. I went online making researches on how to become a good wife to your husband. I read series of articles and it was taking my time away from my business. I was focused on becoming a better wife. We got married and I thought I had found the man of my dreams. Emeka was still loving and good to me. We went on a honeymoon at a 5-star hotel. We spent 2 weeks together and we went to dinner together. It was amazing and I really enjoyed every bit of it. Not until one night his phone rang by 2 a.m. in the morning. He went to the bathroom to answer the call. As he came out from the bathroom, he never knew I was awake. I asked him why entered to the bathroom to pick up a call by 2 a.m. He said he thought I was sleeping and never wanted to disturb my sleep. That is why he went to the bathroom. His friend Joe called him to help him talk to his wife, to tell her that they were together last night. That is why he came back late. I said okay. I wasn't really convinced. I was trying to digest the fact that his friend called him by 2 a.m. in the morning to help him convince his wife that they were together. That is why he came back late. I know Joe and I don't know him to be a night person. I never really thought about that. Could it be that my husband does the same thing too? I don't want to start thinking negatively. I really want to enjoy my honeymoon peacefully. After our honeymoon, we went on and we were living together happily. But as time goes on, I began to see different side of Emeka. He became controlling and possessive. He could like me to be back from my business before 6 p.m. and he threatens to stop me from my business. That is the last thing I want from a marriage. I could try everything possible to beat the time at my fashion store in order to be back on time. Sometimes I could miss out on the time. He always come back by 7 before me. But now he becomes more aggressive. He comes back by 6 p.m. and goes out to drink with his friends. I wasn't able to beat the time. I came back by 7 p.m. He was already home. He yelled and threatened to stop my business. Next time I came back late. That was what he told me. On the same day, in the night, my husband hasn't returned from his usual late night comings. I have to do what my mother and my best friend had advised me earlier. I went down on my knees and started praying for my marriage to be like before. I had prayed for 3 minutes before my husband returned home. He shouted at me, "Why are you disturbing the neighbors? Why are you telling them that I'm bad to you?" I said, but I wasn't shouting. He said to me, I was shouting and I should never talk back at him whenever he's talking. I apologized and said, "I am sorry." From nowhere, I heard the sound on my face. It was so heavy. It was a heavy slap. "How dare you talk back when I'm talking?" I bent over and wept so badly. I wasn't expecting that from my own Emeka. My sweet baby, this is not the Emeka I used to know. My husband slapped me. I didn't want anyone to know about the incident. I was at home throughout that week because my face was swollen. Ifeoma came to visit me because I told her I wasn't feeling too well. She visited and stayed with me all through that day. It was cheerful because she won't stop telling me about the latest gist in town. She made my day. Emeka returned home on seeing Ifeoma. He changed his mood. When Ifeoma left, he warned never to see her in his house again. He doesn't want to see us gossip about him. I wanted to talk, but I remember the heavy slap last night, which I haven't healed from. Emeka could get angry over the smallest thing and often resort to physical violence. I lived in fear every day, not knowing when he would snap. One day I found out I was pregnant. I was overjoyed and thought this could bring us closer as a couple. But instead, Emeka became more distant and abusive. He could often blame me for the pregnancy, saying that I had trapped him and ruined his life. He could say I charmed him with love potion, but I won't succeed to trap him with baby he claimed he is not the father. Things took a turn for the worse when I gave birth to a baby girl. He never cared for me during the pregnancy. He abused and treated me badly. He stopped my business. He stopped everyone from visiting me and closed down my business. I became helpless. Even my mother couldn't visit. In fact, I became a slave in my husband's house. I kept praying for safe delivery so I could plan a way to escape from this terrible nightmare. Sometimes he doesn't keep food for me and my unborn child. We could starve and there was nothing like antenatal during my pregnancy period. Emeka was furious that my baby was a girl and not a boy. My baby looked so beautiful. He started to become more aggressive towards our daughter, not caring about her well-being. I knew I had to get out of this marriage for the sake of my child. He barely buys baby food for my baby, and my baby could breastfeed until I get exhausted. I could beg him every morning for money to feed my baby, and it became my morning routine, and I started looking very unkempt. Sometimes while washing his clothes, I see some money in his pocket and I could feel very blessed. I could use it to feed my baby. This continued for months until my baby turned a year old. I managed to call Ifeoma after finding where he hid my phone. For months, he seized my phone on the day I put to bed to my beautiful daughter. On Saturday morning during my cleaning routine, I found my phone where he hid it in one of his old bags, so I couldn't get hold of this. Immediately, I had to charge it and put a call on Ifeoma. I confided in her and she promised to help me leave Emeka. But before we could make any plans, I woke up one day to find myself in a strange place. I was tied up and blindfolded, and I could hear Emeka's voice. He had kidnapped me and taken me to a remote location. I never knew he found the phone on my bed after feeding my baby. I slept off, forgetting to hide the phone after the phone call. He had already knew I had called Ifeoma. The last thing I remembered before now was that I opened my eyes on my bed and heard my husband say, "Don't ever call this number again." That was the last thing I remembered. I believe it was Ifeoma who was trying to call me, but called the wrong time. As days turned into weeks, I was subjected to unspeakable abuse by Emeka. He kept me locked up, only giving me food and water when necessary. But I never lost hope. I knew I had to escape and get back to my daughter. I became very upset and angry with myself. How on earth did I end up with a beast as a husband? How did this happen? With a combination of courage and luck, I managed to free myself and escape from Emeka's clutches. I ran for hours until I reached a village where I asked for help. The villagers took me in and gave me shelter. I was welcomed and taken care of until I regained energy. I stayed there for months. While I was there, I was thinking about my baby. I couldn't sleep properly and prayed she is alright wherever she is. With their help, I was able to find a lawyer and fight for a divorce. I narrated my story to the family who sheltered me. They are kind and educated. They really didn't believe such could happen to a person, only if they hadn't seen me in such condition when they found me lying on the road. I managed to reconnect with my best friend, the former, and my mother. They came through to visit me and I narrated everything to them. They wept and consoled me. Ifeoma said she knew something was wrong, and my mother said Emeka could always say that I am doing okay, but won't allow her to speak with me. It was a long and cruel process, but eventually I was granted custody of my daughter. I started a new life with her, away from the horrors of my past. I had never imagined that my journey towards finding true love could lead me to such a dark place. But I always learned that strength and resilience can help us overcome any obstacles. I am now free from the wrong man I married and determined to give my daughter a better life. Emeka was arrested for domestic violence and he confessed that he was influenced by bad friends, but no one believed him and he was jailed for months.